In this video, we're going to be making doors and windows for the studio apartment. So first off, we definitely want to make sure that if we click all the walls, they're still in one group. So that means I click off, it's deselected, I click on, and all the walls, every single thing is one group. We haven't made anything else, we just need walls, so that's one group. We also want to check if you come in here off to the side and do your tag. If you turn off the little eyeball, that it goes away. Because those walls should go away if you want to turn off the eye. And then to come back when you turn on the eye. So we're going to go ahead and add another tag. And again, if your walls are not in that tag, let's go ahead and fix it. Watch how I do the windows and door tags, and then you know how to add a tag after that. I'm going to add a tag and I'm going to do windows. And I'm going to add another tag and we're going to do doors. So we're going to start with the doors because the doors are a lot easier. We're going to go to our shapes. Our shapes right here. I'm going to get the rectangle tool. If you don't have the rectangle, just put the drop down and click the rectangle. We're going to start with this door over here. And how we do this is we're going to click that first point at the top corner of the door. I'm going to click and I'm going to go to the opposite corner. And I'm going to click. So now that's going to make a surface. I'm going to get my selection tool and I'm going to double click. You have to double click because when you double click, it selects the surface, and then under the surface is the little dot and it selects the line. Now I'm going to click off just to show you. If I just click once, it just selects the surface. If I triple click, no, oh, never mind. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm just going to double click and it's going to select all the lines. And once it's selected all the lines in the surface, I'm going to right click. I'm going to make this a group. I'm going to make it a group. Don't skip that part because if you don't make it a group, then it's no problem. I'm going to zoom out and just angle myself in this direction. And angling myself in this direction, so I'm going to grab the move tool. I'm going to select this bottom corner right here. I'm going to click and I'm going to take it out. So you see how you can move it really wherever, but if I stay along that red line, I can just like place it right back in. So it's kind of just staying on the axis. It's really important to stay on the axis as much as you can. A trick is if you hold down shift, you see how it becomes bolder. If I move my mouse around, it kind of won't take me off of that axis. So you can just move it or you can hold it down. No matter where you move your mouse, you're not going to move. So click, doesn't matter where, it's out. And this will give us some space to work on making a door without having to make a door like inside here because it would be a little difficult. So remember, when we have a group, we're going to get our selection tool and we need to double click into the group in order to edit what is inside that group. So first, we are going to double click into it, and now we're inside the group. And we can tell we're inside the group because everything else is like grayed out, and you can see what's inside the group is inside this little box right here. So we need to give thickness to our door, and we're going to use our cushion tool and we're going to pull the surface. So we're going to pull it one way, doesn't matter what way, and we're going to go ahead and pull it actually we're going to go ahead and put 2 inches. 2 inches. Okay, and that's going to be our 2-inch door, and it has thickness. Now what we're going to do is go to the warehouse because we need to make 2, no sorry, it's not it yet. Okay, so we're going to make our door, and now it has thickness. Now what we're going to do is get the offset tool, and instead of it being a flat door, we're going to add this 2 panels here. So our offset, we're going to offset the surface, hover with surface, click, and now you can offset. So offset, you can either take it outside or keep it on the surface inside. You see the little red square right here? That goes outside, and then we cross over back into the line. Now we're inside. Let's make sure we're inside. I have not clicked anything. I'm just moving my mouse in and out. And click inside, and we're going to go, I believe it's 4 inches. Let me see, this could be wrong. Yeah, 4 inches. So we're going to go in 4 inches. Now I'm going to get my pencil tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center. And if I hover over a line, it will show me the midpoint. So it's showing me the midpoint from that point to this point, and this is the midpoint. So I'm going to go ahead and make a line right there. What is half of 4 inches is 2 inches. So that's just going to give me my center point. And from this end, I'm going to go up 2 inches, enter. Remember, stay on that blue axis. Find that endpoint and take it all the way over and stay on that green axis. Now from this point, I'm going to click and I'm going to go down another 2 inches. So the number kind of already saved for me. The program does that. So if it saves for you, great. If not, click 2 inches down. We're going to click right here and we're going to go out. Now I'm going to delete this middle line and I'm going to delete this line here. Okay, so it looks like something like that. Now we're going to go ahead and push this surface in. So we're going to get this surface. And if your lines, if you did it on the axis correctly, this should be working. And we're going to push the surface in. Okay, not out, but we're going to go in. And we're going to go in 1/8 of an inch. So we're going to do 1/8 of an inch. And then we're going to do this again. So in 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so now that shows us our beveled panel doors, and we gotta do it to the other side as well. So again, we're gonna do the offset, and we went offset inside, and we went inside 4 inches. Now we got a pencil tool, we found the center, hovered over it, found our midpoint, took the line all the way over. Now we went up 2 inches, and we did 2 inches because half of 4 is 2. Now we're gonna take that all the way over to the other side, and we found 2 inches going the opposite direction. We click and go all the way to the other side. Make sure you stay on those correct axes. Sorry. Okay, now we're gonna go delete that center line and delete the ends as well. Now you kind of orbit yourself because we're gonna push in our walls, or so we're gonna push in the little door panel. We're gonna get the push and pull tool. We're gonna push inside 1/8 of an inch, just like the other side, and then go inside 1/8 of an inch. Okay, that's our door. Now we can go to the left. So you definitely want to get a selection tool, click outside, and you see how now we can still click our walls, and our walls are completely separate from our door because they're grouped here differently. Now we can select our door, and our door is in a different group. Let's make sure it's under the correct tag before we move on. Remember, we can do right click and put the info. If not, your entity info is right over here. So we select our door, and it's untagged, so we need to move it to the door tag. Now if we click our little eyeball off on the door, the only thing that we display is the door. Okay, so we're gonna go add a handle or knob to the door. So we're gonna click on the door, but we want to be inside the group. So we're gonna double click into it. Now we're going to go to the 3D warehouse, which is this little symbol up here. And You can type door, knob, enter, and it gives us a bunch of doorknob options. So we can go to products, that's what we're at right now. And go to models to see other doorknobs. You can click whatever knob you like, but I'm going to go ahead and do this one. And I like this one because it gives you already the knobs on both sides versus, something like this is only going to give you one knob on one side. I'm going to go ahead and download this one, and you're just going to push a little arrow that says download, and you're going to download it into your model. Load this directly into your Sketchup model. Yes. Okay, so now take us out of the group. Notice how my mouse, look at where my mouse is, and then look at where my knob is. Sometimes it'll do that to where it doesn't place it right where your mouse is, so you kind of have to like zoom in and out and look for your item. So I'm just going to drop it here, and I don't know why, but sometimes it comes with this big box when the knob's only that small. So all I'm going to do is zoom in. I'm going to get my move tool, which is this move tool right here. I'm just going to click in that on the knob, click, and I'm going to move it near the door so I can control it. So now we want to rotate it because the knob is not the correct way for the door. So you're going to get your rotate tool. And this is really important that you pay attention because you need to pay attention to the color of how you're rotating. Basically, if it's blue, that means it's going to rotate. Don't do anything. It's going to rotate like this. Okay? And if it's green, it's going to rotate like this. And then if it's red, it will rotate like this. Do you see kind of how they have different rotations depending on where you put your rotation plane on? So we need to rotate it like this. So we're going to get our rotate tool. If you kind of go underneath it, also I need to explain something too. So if you rotate it near it, then it's only going to rotate near in the general area. So if you rotate far from it, see how it puts it all the way around? Super far away, so you need to rotate near it. So we're going to rotate near it, and when we rotate, we need to make sure that we stay on our axis still. So there's our red and our green. See, that's the red, I'm not clicking anything yet, and there's our green, I'm not clicking anything, I'm just hovering over the direction. Red and green. And you need to make sure you stay on those because if you don't stay on it, the things are not going to be straight. So we're going to go from our red, and I'm going to click, and we're going to go to green. And that'll rotate us perfect 90 degrees. I'm going to angle myself to where I can grab the move tool, and I'm going to want to place this part, which is why I'm going to grab it at this end, because this is where the door and the knob meet. I'm going to grab it right here. I'm going to go place it on this surface. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of place it center here and center here. I'm going to zoom out and see how it looks. That looks pretty good. I'm going to grab my move tool. Okay, look right here. So I'm going to click it. If I think it needs to be a little more up, then it needs to go along the blue axis. If I think it needs to be a little more down, I need to move it down on the blue axis. If I think it needs to move over, it needs to move on the green axis. Okay, so that one looks pretty good, but the thing is the door is a little bit too thick. So now, notice how the knobs are in their own group. I'm going to double click into the knob group so I can edit it. So I'm going to double click. and it's in another group. So I'm going to double click into this one. And we never know, other people make these items, we never know how they work Sketchup, how they use it, why they put it in groups. We just have to understand what things mean, and I knew that they put it in a group because it was all in one square. So I'm going to click this one, it's still in a group, so I'm going to go into the group again, double click inside, double click again, and now they're in their each individual group. So I want to move this one. I'm going to get my move tool, and I want to push it out. I don't want to rotate it. I want to move it out. So I'm going to rotate it out in the green direction where it moves out, but it stays center with this one. So I'm going to move it out, hold down shift, and place it on the surface of the door. There we go. So it still stayed in the same location. I just pulled it like out of the door, like it was inside the door flat. Now I can click off, click out, click out, click out, click out of all the groups. Now it should be here. Now notice how the door and the knob are different groups. We're definitely going to want to. I'm going to do this if you pick this knob, if you have a different knob. Well, hopefully yours isn't like this. I'm double click into this, and I'm just going to, sorry, I'm going to click this, I'm going to explode it. And it explodes. I'm going to explode it because they explode ungrouped it. And I didn't want that big group there because it was a huge box for no reason. And I exploded that first group layer. So now I'm here at this one, and this is the next group. And if I wanted to explode it, I could, but there's really no need to. So I'm going to select that group, hold down shift, and add the door slot to it. So again, I selected the knob group, hold down shift, add it, and click. By holding down shift, I'm going to right click and I'm going to group these two together. And now when we move our door, since it's one group, the knob and the door, if you grab your move tool, it moves as a group instead of individually. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the corner of this door and I'm going to place it at the corner from the outside. And it should just snap right into place. So from the inside, lift this up. Instead of making a completely new door for this one, since I already made one door, we're just going to select it, hit Control C to copy, and then Control V. And now I can just place that door in here. Because the reason why it's going to fit is because they're both 3-foot openings, and we made 3-foot doors, so it will work. Now we need to rotate it, so remember we're going to rotate on this blue surface. We're going to go along the red axis, and we're going to bring it around to the green to make it 90 degrees. On our plan, it shows that the door opens. I'm going to get this little corner, and I'll place it right here. And the reason why we place the knob on this side is because when it opens, think about it. Oops, how to fix that. That's the move tool, and then move it into that corner. There we go. So when the door opens, the door swing opens like this, just like how it shows in the plan. So let's make sure this other door swing is correct. See the door swing, we need to flip it to where the door swing opens right here. And right now it's opening like this. So we need to rotate it. I'm going to select the door. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to click, click, stay on the green axis, bring all the way down to the red, click. Going to grab this corner at the bottom of the door, not of the group, but the door, and snap it back into place. There we go. And there we have our two doors. I'm going to go ahead and continue to make the windows. We're going to go ahead and skip over this door. I will make it after the windows. This is going to be a sliding door. We are not putting doors in here because those are openings, like it shows in the plan. So we're going to start with the window, and we're going to do the exact same sort of process we did for the door. So we're going to get a rectangle, take it at one corner, take it all the way to the other corner, and click. Once that's done, you're going to get your selection tool, double click, and make sure the surface is selected with the dot, and then all the lines are selected. Once that's completed, you're going to right click and click New Group. Once it's the group, you're going to get your move tool, grab the corner, click, move it out a little bit, and then you can move it out so you can work on it. So on the axis, then red axis, and click. Now to edit it, I'm going to go to the group. I'm going to double click it, and now I'm going to go to the group. We're going to do the same thing with the door. We're going to do an offset. We're going to select the surface, and we're going to offset this 1 inch. And now we'll offset the side of the border of the window. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the center between this point and this point. Let's go find the midpoint. If you hover over it with our line tool, so to hover over it, and we'll find our midpoint there. We're going to click, and we're going to take it all the way down. We're going to do after. Do is up and down, and click. Now we're going to want to find the midpoint of the between here and here. So we're going to hover over with our line tool, click, once you find the midpoint, and take it all the way over. So I'm going to do an after. Click. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure, well, the windows are going to have different mullions. So you know how the lines are in some of the windows? Those are called mullions. And we're going to make our window have, and then, okay, so they're called mullions, but what you see, like little squares, are called lights. So we're going to make this window have 8 lights, and then you might understand it once it's done being made. But now we're going to find the midpoint between this point and this point. So we're going to hover over with our tool, we're going to bring it over, stay on the top axis, and click. And from this point to this point, we're going to find the middle, go to the midpoint, click, and there. Okay, so you should have 8 sections, and that's what I mean by 8 lights. This window has 8 lights, and then these little things in the middle are called mullions. Okay, but our mullions are not just lines, they're actually the thickness. They're usually about a thickness of an inch, so we're going to go ahead and make them an inch. So from this point, this is the center. We don't want to go 6 inches that way, and we don't want to go 1 inch that way. We don't want to go 1 inch that way because then it would be off center if this is the center point. So instead, I'm going to click right here. Half of 1 inch is half an inch. So I'm going to do 1 plus 2 inches for half an inch. I'm going to click enter. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to take that line all the way down. I'm going to on the axis, which is to be blue, and we're going to click. Now let's go for the others. We're going to get the center line, click, go another half an inch, and then bring it all the way down. And what that does is that will give us a 1 inch mullion right in the center, and we're going to do that because we're going to end up deleting this center line. So we're going to select it and delete it. Plus 3, plus 3, let's see. So that gives us a perfectly centered 1 inch line. Now we're going to go do the exact same process, doing the ½ inch on each and every line for this line, this line, and this line. Okay, ½ inch, okay, okay, ½ inch, okay, down your press after, okay, ½ inch, okay, 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 inch. Alright, so this is definitely wrong. I did something wrong. When you do something wrong, you could always hit Control V, and Control V will take you back. I'm just going to go ahead and measure and see where I went wrong, and then I'm just going to move it on. So from here to here should be ½ inch. That's correct. From here to here should be ½ inch. That's 1/4. That's where I went wrong. I'm going to escape, get my selection tool, and just delete that one line. So I'll delete it. And so it's either ½ inch, which is not really good. ½ inch, over, click, ½ inch, over. And make sure I'll fill in your axis. If you do not, this will mess you up big time. Now we can go delete all those little lines, not those center lines that we don't need anymore. And then we can also delete these right here, because we're just going to want it seamless, like that. All I'm doing is I'm selecting the lines and deleting them. And I'm deleting them by clicking delete on the keyboard. We can also delete the edges over here. And on the other side as well. Okay, so our window is still paper thin. We definitely need to add thickness to it. So I'm going to show you how to add thickness. Once that's done, you're going to want to select the surfaces of where the glass should be, and we're just going to delete them. So select, delete, select, delete, 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 delete. You should be left with this. And now we're going to get our push and pull tool, and we're going to bring this out. We can go ahead and bring it out about 3 inches. 3 inches. Okay. Now you can go ahead and paint this. This is the color of our windows. How you're going to do that is you're going to still make sure you're inside the group. I'm going to go ahead and click kind of over here and bring my mouse all the way down, and then we'll go and make click, and it'll select everything. You can use the orbit tool just to view and see how it selected everything. Once that's selected, we're going to go ahead and go to the paint bucket. Now, the paint bucket will bring us over here. You click this little down arrow. Let me finish the makeup better. You should be in materials. Under materials, there's select, and then under select, then you'll have a drop down, and then you go to colors. So I like doing a black color. I usually pick this one, and I just paint it. And it'll paint every single thing at one time. I'm not telling you what color you should do your windows. That's up to you how you want to design it. But it does need to be colored. And then I'm going to get my selection tool and just click off so I can see how that looks. Once I'm satisfied with the color, we can go ahead and move forward. So notice how when I selected off, I did select out of the group. And we're not done with the window yet. So I'm going to double click back into the window and we're going to make the glass for the window. So I need to get at a good angle because what the glass is going to do is going to sit in the center. So we're going to use our shape tool and we're going to get our rectangle thing. And what we're going to do is we're going to hover over and find the midpoint. I'm going to click, and then once I click, we're going to get my orbit tool, and I'm going to orbit to this opposite corner and from the center. Now I have to make sure I go back to the same tool I was at, shape, and it should still be locked there. Hover over the midpoint and to turn red, and I'm going to click. Now that'll give us the surface for glass. Now instead of doing that for every single location, I'm just going to double click my glass. And you see how when I double click it looks at the surface and the outer line. If you don't get that, go ahead and click off, and let's make sure you double click that glass. And now we can make it a glass material. So it's a paint bucket. Make sure you're under material, under select, so you can go to the colors, and we need to go to glass. I like using this translucent glass, gray glass. You can use this other one you want, like blue or the green. But I like the gray, and I'm going to color it gray. Once I know that's what I like, then you can click off just to see how it looks. To make sure that you gotta go back into that group and click it again. Okay, and then double click the glass. Once I have that surface selected and all the corners selected, I can right click. Oops, not gonna do that. Sorry. Okay, make sure all these things are selected. I'm gonna control C to copy, and then I'm gonna control V. Now it's gonna move my mouse, it's not click my mouse. And you see how it leaves us right here? So what I want to do is I'm just going to kind of drop it and arrange myself correctly so I can grab it and go place it where I need to be placed. So you see how it made the group bigger because I'm over inside the group and it knows that there's something over here, so it made our group outline bigger. I'm just going to grab it from that corner, and I know I want it to be in this corner. I'm sorry, not in the corner, but on that midpoint, and I'm going to click it. And now I can control V. And now since I got it from that corner, it automatically attaches to its last place, and I could go hover over that midpoint and drop it. I did that in second. I just did Control V, go back, Control V to paste, and then hover over the midpoint. Now I want to go to this corner, Control V to paste, hover over the midpoint and click. So I did that side, now I'm going to come to this side, Control V. I got to orbit myself. Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V. And that's my window. So I clicked out. Now if I click, you can see that everything's still in that group. So if I were to move the window with my move tool, it all moves at once. Now let's go ahead and make sure that this is the correct tag item. You can do that by right-clicking Entity Info. If it's not there, you can also just click it, and Entity Info should be up here. You can see that the tag is untagged, and then you want to click the drop down and move it to the window. You can check if it's tagged correctly by going to the windows right here and move your tag, and then click the little eyeball, and that's the only thing that's to turn off, so this is the only window. Now we want to select that one group that we made for our window. We're going to Control C, and now we're going to Control V. Let's copy and paste. Now I just move my mouse over and it should be there. And you can just go ahead and drop it. Make sure you grab it from the specific corner, because what's going to happen is I'm going to want to come over here and kind of drop it in this corner, and it should snap right into place. And then click. I could do the same thing for this one too. Get my selection tool. So I want to select this window. Get my move tool out from that corner and place. Okay. Move it in place. And then another Control V, because I want to place another window. And drop it in that corner. So from the inside, it should look like that. Now we're going to be working on the sliding door. The sliding door is a lot like a window. Now, okay, we're going to start with the shape. We're going to start with the rectangle. We're going to start at this corner, bring it all the way down to this corner. Get our selection tool, double click, plus surface, plus all the edges. We're going to right click and make it a group. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, get my move tool, grab that corner, and then bring it out. And then get it placed on that red axis and just write it like that thing once you're done working on it. I'll order myself to focus on this. Get my selection tool, double click into our group that I just made. So I'm going to do the offset tool. Okay, we're going to do that. Let's go ahead and do our pencil tool, and let's go ahead and find the center point. So for midpoint, I'm going to select it, bring it all the way down, and click. Now, we're just going to go ahead and do one side of the door, and then we're going to copy whatever we make and make the other side of the door. So we don't need really this part, because we're just going to focus on making one side first. You can select the surface and delete it, but notice how it still keeps the line, because always you just delete the surface. So make sure you keep those lines, the top line, the side line delete, and the bottom line delete. And this is your one sliding door. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the offset. So we're going to do this offset for 1 inch. This is the windows. And this one here. We're going to go ahead and set this surface. Let's select the surface where the glass is supposed to be and click delete. Now we can get the surface, which is pushing tool, and we're going to bring it out. We're going to bring it out 3 inches. Okay, now at this point we definitely want to change it. So we're going to our selection tool, and we're going to click, drag, and let go. Should select everything there. If you want to check, you can orbit around it. Once that's done, you can go back to the paint bucket. Whenever we need to under materials, under select, and then go back to our colors. I use this color here. You can use whatever color you want, and you can click out of it to choose what you'd like. So remember, when you click out of it, you need to double click right back in because we're going to do a glass. So with this one, we're going to go ahead and do 2 panes of glass. We're going to go ahead and get the rectangle tool, and we're going to make sure that we start a rectangle from the inside corner. Zoom out all the way to the bottom inside corner. And one more time. From the inside corner, all the way to the inside corner. And try the opposite side. Inside corner, the opposite side. Okay, not working. Okay, that's the problem. I don't know why. I don't know why, but sometimes you have to do this. So we did that rectangle and it didn't work. Once you get your pencil tool and you go from like one side to the other side, it should pop up. I don't know why it does that, but I just learned that sometimes is the problem. So once we have this perfect, we can double click it. And now we put some it and hit the glass. So I'm going to do select glass. I'm going to do the same color. Make sure the other side is changed as well. Sometimes it doesn't change. So I'm going to double click into the group. I'm going to double click that glass. I'm going to control C to copy the glass only. I'm going to control V. I'm going to put another glass over here on this side. Once that's done, you can get out of it. Got to do food. If I ever need it, I will put fingers together so I don't break it up. Selection tool, make yourself focus, control C, and control V. And pop it down here, grab this corner, and lock it into the opposite corner. Because of sliding door, what happens is they're on opposite sides. They may be on opposite corners. I can go ahead and hold down the shift button. You can see I hold it down because I only press the minus 10 buttons to it. That means I add something to this selected. I'm going to click select, or sorry, I'm going to click it. Let it go. Grab my move tool. I'm going to do it from this specific corner. So what's going to happen is I'm going to lock it and snap it into that corner. And then click. Now I can go around and see what that's going to do and do. Now we do want to make sure that this and this are one piece. So all I do is select it, hold on to it, select it, I can right click and I can group it. Now if we were to move it, it's going to move together. I can also check the entity info. There is a sliding door, so you want to click on the door. Once that's done, you can click the little eyeball and all the doors come on. The nozzles don't on. That's the problem. So to fix that, I'm going to double click into the door. I'm going to press the knob, and you can see that it's untabbed. I'm going to move it to the door tab. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Double click in here, select that. Knob key, and turn the door. Now I can move them out and see if it works. Now it works. Now because these they do work, we don't lose it, and that's how we got our doors and windows.